Hello, and welcome to our presentation on the conference audit process, which all conference organizers should be aware of and prepared for. An audit is an official examination of the accounts and supporting documents of financial info conducted by an independent reviewer. Audits ensure that everything is accurately represented and accounting for in IEEE's financial statements, and an audit findings can help improve financial record keeping for future conference iterations. If your conference meets or exceeds $250,000 in revenue or expenses and has a total IEEE financial sponsorship greater than 50%, an audit is required. But all conferences should prepare as if they are being audited because a random sample of events is audited every year, and this is a best practice. You'll want to keep the displayed quick tips in mind throughout the conference financial lifecycle. The most important thing to remember is that every transaction, whether it's revenue in your conference being received or expenses being paid, must have documentation supporting that transaction. The IEEE audit checklist can be found online at the IEEE audit page or by clicking the indicated area on this screen. Let's review the revenue items that will require backup. We have registration revenue, grants and sponsorships, exhibits, social functions, publications, and anything else miscellaneous that the conference receives. Registration revenue can be supported by the registration report generated from the third-party reg system showing each attendee name, what they paid for, their method of payment, and the total amount of the payment. Any registration arrangements made offline should be added to this report as well. Sponsorships that are not provided by financial sponsors should be recorded in a separate report showing all of the points mentioned in the reg report. You should additionally keep invoices for all of these as well. Grants should all have an associated grant agreement showing the amount of the grant and stating the purpose of what the grant should be used for. The exhibitor report should follow the same format as the sponsorship report and will also require invoices to be kept for each exhibitor. Social functions and publications will likely be included in your registration report, and you can find social function and publication revenue by filtering by these items. If they are not included in your registration, a separate report will be required in the same format as your registration report. If you have additional sources of revenue that were not covered, please contact IEEE to find out what support you should be keeping for this revenue. Let's move on to expenses. Expense support will include bank account statements, support for credit card receivables collections and fees, and backup for every disbursement made by the conference. If you've submitted a payment through IEEE, we've already requested and collected that support, so you won't have to send it again. Here's what that support would look like. You've got your monthly bank statements, your receipts to support checks written for reimbursements, a transaction detail report, invoices for all of your expenses, and contracts for all of your payments made over $5,000. If your conference used a CB account, your analyst will already have access to your monthly statements. Any third party or PCO should be able to supply the bank statements to IEEE for closing, and if you use a local account, please collect the statements from your bank and send to IEEE to verify the transactions for audit. Prior to writing all checks for individuals, organizers should be requesting receipts for reimbursements or tax forms for awards. The transaction detail report will show all revenue and expenses for the conference as reflected on the final financial report statement. The date, amount received or disbursed, and method of payment should be shown on each line item, and the payee or recipient name should be reflected here as well so our audit team can easily cross-reference this with the supporting documents. Organizers must collect invoices for any payments to a vendor supplying a service to the conference or receipts for any smaller payments made out of the conference account. For any payment over the amount of $5,000, a signed contract should be provided with the audit documentation for that payment. Thanks for watching. Please contact your analyst, the conference finance team, or the audit operations team with any questions.